For NBC's coverage of the Winter Olympics in Seoul in January. We've got more in the explosive details from Variety magazine about why exactly Matt Lauer was fired as co-host of NBC's Today Show after 20 years. Dow Jones reporting he allegedly sexually harassed a female subordinate while they were covering the Olympics in Sochi, Russia in 2014, the Winter Olympics there. The New York Post says he sexually assaulted a co-worker then. Now Variety is reporting multiple accusers coming out, saying Matt Lauer, for example, once allegedly gave a colleague a sex toy as a present with an explicit note on how he allegedly wanted to use it on her. He allegedly exposed himself to another female worker. That he allegedly would also sometimes quiz female producers about who they would want to sleep with. Lauer's co-host Savannah Guthrie broke the news this morning on the Today Show. Watch.
I'm heartbroken for Matt. He is my dear, dear friend and my partner, and he is beloved by many, many people here. And I'm heartbroken for the brave colleague who came forward to tell her story, and any other women who have their own stories to tell. And we are grappling with a dilemma that so many people have faced these past few weeks. How do you reconcile your love for someone with the revelation that they have behaved badly? And I don't know the answer to that.
Now, the Today Show is the crown jewel of NBC. It's nearly a $500 million enterprise. NBC News Chair Andy Lack issued a statement this morning saying, quote, on Monday night, we got a detailed complaint from a colleague about inappropriate sexual behavior in the workplace by Matt Lauer. It represented, after serious review, a clear violation of company standards. As a result, we decided to terminate his employment. While it is a first complaint about his behavior in the over 20 years he's been at NBC, we were also presented with reason to believe this may not have been an isolated incident. Joining me now, the Daily Caller editor, Katie Frates, and Democrat strategist Wendy Osefo. Katie, Variety reports it was an open secret about Matt Lauer. So do you believe NBC News President Andy Lack when he says this is the first time he's heard about this in 20 years? When Variety talked to 10 current and former workers at NBC, isn't Andy Lack's credibility on the line right now?
I find it very hard to believe, and I honestly want answers from NBC, and I think everyone should want the same thing. It's not just Matt Lauer. They just recently fired Matt Zimmerman, their head booker, for sexually harassing colleagues. They tried to suppress the Harvey Weinstein story. This is painting a picture of a company that is okay and condones systemic sexual harassment and abuse of women, and how they're getting away with this is beyond me. This Variety piece has multiple allegations of management covering this up, of, quote, protecting Matt Lauer. I don't understand. We want answers. I don't understand how they could allow this to happen. I don't understand how they could put the priorities of protecting their talent above protecting women in their workplace.
To that point, Wendy, where to start? I mean, it's hard to believe no one knew about this on NBC when you have current and former NBC workers speaking to Variety about it, at least 10 women. Go ahead, Wendy.
Absolutely, and I think this speaks to a bigger systemic issue within our society. Whether we're looking at Harvey Weinstein, Louis C.K., now Matt Lauer, this is an issue of power and privilege. And when power or privilege exists in the workplace, you have these companies who may have heard rumblings of this earlier on, but then we see this delayed reaction as to what they're doing when they hear these rumblings. And I think this is really problematic. We have to realize that, one, this is not a partisan issue, but most importantly, we have to know that our society needs to really revamp the ways in which we look at issues of sexual allegations.
Wendy makes a good point here. Katie, let's get to it. All right, despite being married, to that point about Wendy made about power, and Katie, you've made the same point too. Despite being married, here's what Matt Lauer allegedly did, according to Variety. He summoned a female worker to his office, exposed himself, showed his genitals, and then after the worker declined to do anything, visibly shaken, he reprimanded her for not engaging in a sex act. What are your thoughts there?
It's absolutely horrifying. The Variety piece also says that Matt Lauer's wife traveled with him at one point because she didn't trust him to be alone. What does that say if even his wife knew? The point of this is that it's horrifying that NBC News needs to step up and make changes so that this doesn't happen again. But absolute power corrupts absolutely. This is a phrase we've heard for a very long time. And when you have people that are put in positions where they feel like they're safe, where they have money, where they have fame, and where they have young women looking up to them for help and career advancement, you get people like Matt Lauer preying on women, and it is unacceptable.
Again, these are allegations. Matt Lauer has not stepped forward to speak about them. them. Familiarity, to your point, breeds contempt as well. Variety, Wendy, saying, to your point about power, that Matt Lauer also allegedly had a button under his desk to lock female employees inside his office for whom he was propositioning. Who installed that button?
Exactly, right? So that's a bigger question. I do not see anywhere where having a button under your desk so you can lock your door seems to fit into the company culture. Again, this speaks to that systemic issue that we're talking about here. He has to be held accountable, but what I am comforted in knowing is that when we see issues with Matt Lauer, we see Harvey Weinstein, we are seeing the dice roll, and we are seeing them say you are not too big to fall. And that's really important. When we see women who are coming forth with the Me Too movement, that's really taking off. This is not something that we just see here at NBC. We see this globally, and we have to underscore that point.
Katie, Wendy, terrific insights. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. Really appreciate it. Next up,
thank you.
Again, we're staying on the story. Matt Lauer